Hello and welcome to the Total Entertainment Podcast with me, Paul Collis. And today we're going to take a look at the supporting artist for Idols on Tour, and that is Adwaith. Let's get straight on it, shall we? So supporting Idols is Adwaith, and Adwaith translates to reaction. Now obviously I've butchered this because I'm English and I cannot read Welsh, and that's a bit difficult living in Wales, I know. But I don't know the rules on how to pronounce certain things, so I'm sorry if I've offended anyone that speaks Welsh. So, Adwaith are a Welsh language indie rock group from Carmarthen in West Wales, formed in 2015. The group currently consists of Holly Singer on vocals and guitar, Gwelyn Anthony on bass, keys and mandolin, and Head Owen on drums. The band is signed to Libertino Records. Adwaith are supporters of Welsh independence. They told Yes is More. Britain are relying on Westminster and England too much. People from Scotland and Wales are quickly starting to realise that independence is a great option. We need a leader who puts Wales first and has a genuine care for the culture and language. Now, they are right in certain aspects, but I really don't want to touch the politics on this from me being English, and I have got the opposing view that we shouldn't break up Great Britain, because unfortunately, if you were, it would have to be in a couple of generations' time, especially after the pandemic, where there just isn't the natural financial wealth to run the country independently. It just doesn't exist. But I'm not going to touch any more on the politics. Perhaps they are right in the future, but now absolutely not. Anyways, they've only got the one album called Mail-In, and that's on the label Libertino Records. They got a selection of singles, and as they are a Welsh language band, it would sound absolutely boring of me trying to pronounce this, and I don't want to risk offending anyone. I really don't. And I just don't know the rules on how to pronounce certain words. Well, all Welsh words. I just don't know, and I don't want to insult people. Now, maybe one day they'll be able to tell me how it's pronounced, and maybe, just maybe, if they're listening to this podcast, that they can help me out here on this one. Because at the end of the day, we are in the live entertainment industry, and I live in Wales, and I would like to see more natural homegrown talent and be able to report on the natural homegrown talent. Even though I can't understand the language, we still need to get that out there, because at the end of the day, there's a lost heritage which is only just having a resurgence. It's taken close to 20 years of getting people to relearn the language that is now starting to break through. And I want to be able to show the world that there is definitely a cultural significance to the Welsh language. We'll be back after this. So not only does Muster X Media have a series of podcasts, but we also have a series of books. The first book is actually two books. It's volume 1 and volume 2 of A Tribute to Working at Sea. The best fiction is based on truth. This is a compilation of short stories, rants and poems loosely based on the author's experience at working on a cruise ship. Some of these stories are based on actual events but highly exaggerated, whilst other stories are pure fiction. The title of the book, A Tribute To, is fitting with the tone of the book because, like a tribute act, it is a blatant altered reality where you can enjoy it knowing it's not quite the truth. There are themes of alcoholism which used to be highly prevalent within workers in the cruise industry, as well as stories with a sexual nature. So sit down, relax and enjoy the ride of A Tribute to Working at Sea Volumes 1 and 2. All of these books are available on Amazon and are available in paperback and on Kindle, and the links for all of these books are in the description below. And we're back. So, Adwaith. 10 minutes prior to the start of the show, the production team flooded the stage with smoke. I mean, when I say flooded, I mean it was thick enough you couldn't see anything within this dense cloud of smoke, as though you was in a room full of smoke from a fire. That was how dense it was. And I was absolutely hoping that there would be a really good lighting effect when they came out. You know, that much smoke, they definitely should have been doing something. And I had some high hopes for that, I really did. Then the girls from Adwaith walked out, and they're all in white matching outfits. Although there was a little stumble about when they got on, because they didn't start straight away. It's as though they were unsure of the procedure, as though they've not done that many live performances, which for a starting out band is more than likely and more the case. And just before they were about to start, you had some idiot booing them before they even played a note on their instruments, which was a shame, because you don't want that. You don't want to hear that, especially when you know that the support band is a relatively new support band with not that much stage experience within a massive arena. But when they started off, they were playing really good, actually. Although, getting back to this lighting effect that I was waiting on and I was expecting, it just didn't happen. They had the LED backlight from LX2, and that was it. Well, no, there was the downstage LED upright buttons, and that's all they had. And for most of their set, it was the same lighting state until they decided to change colour towards the end, and they went from red and orange to blue and Congo blue. So, not much. There wasn't any face light until they got in the line of fire of the upright LED buttons, which were downstage. And that was the only light that they had. The lighting effects that they had kind of definitely, well, their costumes worked with the lighting effects, which I think they did on purpose, knowing full well that they ain't going to have that much light whatsoever. So they thought, okay, what's going to reflect as much light to make us more visible? White costumes. So it worked. In that respect, it worked. Now, I was actually surprised that there wasn't that much patter, because they decided they're going to cram in as many songs as they physically could within their 30-minute set. So there was no patter between the first song and second song. They just segued straight into it, got going, and then after the second song finished, they then introduced themselves in English, and the rest of their patter was in Welsh, which is understandable because they're a Welsh speaking band. That's what you have to understand. That's why they were there. They were there to promote themselves as a Welsh speaking band. And it was good. It was good to hear something different like that. So, what do I think about Adwaith? Well, for me, it felt like they were definitely grunge. They had definitely got the late 90s grunge feel about them. Possibly more closer to early 90s. Yeah, I would say more early 90s grunge. That's how it felt to me. And I like that style. I really did. I don't know if they would actually identify themselves as having a grunge feel. They might call it something different, but for me it felt like early grunge. Now, do I enjoy listening to songs that I don't understand the lyrics to? Yes, you bet your ass I do. I love listening to Norwegian music, I love listening to Korean music, Japanese music, and to be honest, this is the first time I heard a Welsh speaking band, and I was actually pretty impressed with them. The girls, they could sing, they could definitely play their instruments, and the only downside for me was the fact that I couldn't understand it, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it, because I did enjoy their set. Sound wise from their set though, I was a bit disappointed with the mix. I know what you're saying. Well, it's the sound of the grunge. That's what you're listening out for, and that's the kind of style that they're going for with the sound. Yes, I agree with that, but unfortunately for me, it felt like the sound engineer just confused grunge with a mess. It was just there was no clarity in it, and I've heard people mix grunge and make it sound like grunge but be very clear. And the other thing that I noticed within the mix, the drums were well above the level of the guitars and the vocals. You heard more drum than anything else. And from not hearing their music on CD, well I say CD, on download now, or even on YouTube, which I'm going to have a look at some point. I've not heard their source material, so I don't know if it's a deliberate thing about putting the drums louder, but for me, I personally wouldn't have had the drums above the vocals, nor would I have it above the guitar or the bass guitar. I would have it more balanced, and it would still sound grungy. But swings and roundabouts. Sticking with the sound, it's just a pity. It is such a pity because I actually thought that they played really well, and they definitely deserved that 22 carat sound clarity. They just didn't get it, and it impacted their performance. You could hear that it impacted their performance, and it's just a shame. It was just a shame. With a bit of luck next time, if I come across them in the future, that they would probably have a better sound engineer. Although I don't like to slate other people's work, I really don't. But come on, drums above everything else, no clarity. It wasn't even 9 carat clarity. There just was none. It was just more like a wall of mashed up sound, in my honest opinion. And as I said, it's not fair on the band. So by the end of their set, the arena was 60% full, and 30 minutes until Idols started. And what reception did they get? They had a really great reception, actually. You couldn't fault it. For the amount of cheering they got, it was pretty loud for the amount of people that were in the arena. It definitely balanced out with the amount of people in there. They were definitely well received, that I'm sure. And I just hope that they got some more exposure out of this, because they definitely deserved more exposure, in my opinion. And to be perfectly honest, I do feel that Adwaith definitely have longevity within the music industry, and fingers crossed that they can break into mainstream music as well and still stay Welsh speaking. And without my crystal ball, we will never know, but I do hope so. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, please hit like, subscribe and share, and we will catch you next time. Bye for now.